Hi, good afternoon, Ananda. Welcome to today 8th biology 4th chapter reproduction in animals. So coming to that reproduction, it's a well-known term. Why? Because in 7th class already reproduction in plants. Already you studied in the 7th class reproduction in plants. For example, in case of potato, bryophyllum, chrysanthemum, even though they do not produce the gametes in asexual mode of reproduction like potatoes, eyes, birds and flowers. So with the help of these organs, the organisms like potato, bryophyllum, chrysanthemum, they can reproduce. For example, chrysanthemum means by the layering, bryophyllum means through buds, potato means eyes. Even though there is no formation of gametes by the asexual mode of reproduction, some of the plants they can reproduce. Whereas when you look at some higher plants like datura, they can reproduce by the pollination technique, pollination process or technique. So I mean that in 7th class itself you learn about reproduction in plants. Now 8th class 4th chapter reproduction in animals. So reproduction is a common term in both the plants and the animals, which makes the life continuation by the generating system. So obviously the reproduction means means once again production is produced. So the organisms once again they have to produce their own offsprings or own kinds. For example, as I said in the previous video, the human beings produce the babies, the cat produce the kittens, and the dog produce the puppies. So as like the once again all the living organisms are having the ability, every living organism is having the ability to reproduce their own offsprings to make life continuation. Such phenomena, such a natural process which occurs in the nature is called as reproduction. So reproduction is a natural process. It is called as a natural. So let us come into the reproduction in animals. As we said, in primary organisms means primary animals which can select the asexual mode of reproduction. Whereas coming to the higher organisms, higher animals, they can choose the sexual mode of reproduction. So obviously, based on the evolution, based on the organism's position, like lower and higher, they can choose the different modes of reproduction. So coming to the modes of reproduction, mainly two kinds. One is the asexual mode of reproduction, means absence of the sexual organs. Even though absence of the sexual organs, there is no portion of sexual organs. Simply the organisms, for example, how the plants like potato or these bryophyllum, chrysanthemum, they can reproduce by these different methods like these grafting, layering, are also called as these buds. So coming to that, the animals, for example, in amoeba, binary fission. Binary fission means one parent amoeba which gives rise to two daughter amoebas by the splitting. Means this is called as a binary fission. Fission means dividing. So binary means the parent one divides into two daughter ones. Budding, like hydra, we are going to learn about this chapter. Hydra is a microscopic organism. It gives the buds like yeast. Already we learned that yeast in the previous chapter, microscopic organisms like microorganisms. Next, so here the asexual mode of reproduction means absence of the sexual organs. I mean that there is no portion of the gametes, there is no production of gametes, there is no fusion of the gametes. Simply by the binary fission or budding process, the parent one which gives rise to daughter ones is called as asexual mode of reproduction, that we are going to discuss about in this chapter. The second one is called as sexual mode of reproduction. Here, obviously, the sexual mode of reproduction, higher organisms are having higher animals are having sexually dimorphism, means male one is separate to female one, male gender is separate to female gender. So male sex organs produce the male gametes like these sperm cells, female sex organs produce female gametes like the ovules. obviously by the fusion of the male and female gametes, a formation of the zygote. Here fusion means combination. Both the fusion means here sperm cell of the nucleus, ovum of the nucleus, both the nucleus forms the fuse. I mean that formation and it forms the gametes like these both the gametes formation like zygote means 2n number. So here fusion, here fission. There is a slight difference, but it's a great variation between the fission and fusion. So this is a sexual mode of reproduction. So before coming to the explanation parts of these modes of reproduction, actually we are having the textbook concern. Almost the organisms when we observe that these sexual mode of reproduction, some may be giving the egg laying. Some of the organisms, especially the insects, the birds which are laying the eggs, and some are giving the directly young ones. Directly they give the childbirth. So on what basis and what parameters we have to measure that some are giving the directly young ones, some are giving the egg laying organisms. So before coming to these modes of reproduction, first we have to let us begin with the oviparous and viviparous. Of course, to come to the oviparous and viviparous explanation part in the textbook, actually began that topic in some introduction part. See, this is the introduction part of our chapter. Actually, one day in Ritvik's school, one day a small baby pigeon. Actually, the small pigeon, baby pigeon is called as a squab. So in textbook page number 53, in textbook page number 53, 8th class, 4th chapter, it is having some introduction part. It gives to that in Ritvik's school. I mean that in Ritvik's school, one day a small baby pigeon, means a squab, fell down from the ventilator. You know that some small slab on the windows side. So from ventilator, a small baby pigeon has to be fell down. So with the help of his friends, he carefully put it back in the ventilator. So while he keeping it back, he observed some eggs in its nest. So while he is keeping back on the ventilator these small squab of this baby pigeon, that time he observed that some other eggs in its nest and two other baby birds that were trying to come out of these eggs. So this is the picture which are related to trying to come out of these eggs like these squabs. So this is given to the nestling hatching out. That means in this nest, the hatching out of these embryos. So he waited to see if the eggs are hatched and wondered. So one day in Ritvik's school, he observed that one baby pigeon, that means a squab, has to be fell down from the ventilator, and he is trying to keep it back with the help of his friends. On that time, he observed that some other birds, that means nestlings, some other eggs are hatched and birds are emerging out. So he is interestingly stay back and he watched out, and he is having some doubts in his mind. So let us coming to that, we should try to answer these questions. Do all the eggs hatch into nestlings? Do all eggs hatch into nestlings? Yes, it may be. Some may be damaged, but majority of the eggs are hatched and it gives to the young ones. Next, can there be pigeons if there were no eggs? Can there be pigeons if there were no eggs? No. There is no pigeons, there is no eggs. Can there be eggs if there were no pigeons? No. If there were no eggs, no pigeons, no eggs. So properly we cannot find out an accurate answer to such questions. Why? Because these questions are related to reproduction. Have understand, children? So what they are asking, without eggs there is no pigeons. Without pigeons there is no eggs. So coming to this statement about the two statements, which is front and which is back. We are giving the answer. Such type of questions are very difficult. Why? Because these are related to that reproduction. You have already studied about reproduction plants in 7th class itself. So see, this is the small baby pigeon, that means crab, which is collected from the nestling. So he is trying to keep it back. Next, we should try to answer these questions. Do all animals lay the eggs? No. Why? Because while we observe the nature, someone is giving the directly young ones. For example, human beings like mammals, like cow, sheep, goat, and all the mammals which gives childbirth. Next, are there any animals that give birth to young ones? Are there any animals that give birth to young ones? Yes, obviously the mammals. Next, how can we identify which animals lay eggs and which give birth to young ones? Based on the external characters. So when we observe the external characters, we can give to that, yes, some are giving the directly young ones, some are laying the eggs. So that we can explain that next page. Are there any patterns in nature that give clues to modes of reproduction? Yes, there is certainly some clues. For example, lower organisms, both the sex organs are same. I mean this is a bisexual organisms, they can reproduce in a asexual mode of reproduction. In case of unisexual organisms, they can go to the sexual mode of reproduction. So like that, there is some clues regarding the modes of reproduction. Next, coming to that, you might have seen a lot of small and big animals around us. Some of them are having the external ears visible from the outside, while some do not. So names of some animals are listed below. Yesterday already I gave the homework. So now today we are going to explain the answers based on the tabular form. So let us coming to that. See children. So this is textbook page number 54, textbook page number 54. So they are given us some of the list of the animals. So first try to read the animals and try to give the answers. Deer, leopard, pig, fish, buffalo, giraffe, frog, sparrow, lizard, crow, snake, elephant, cat. So while we are reading this, some of the listed animals, we can understand that these are the animals which are having the different groups. See, for example, out of these given animals, some of the animals are having the external ears with clear visible. So try to make out list out. For example, see, total we are having the 12 animals. So out of the 12, first 6 animals that have the external ears. Next, rest of the animals that do not have the external ears. See, first deer, leopard, pig, buffalo, elephant, cat. If we have to observe all these 6 animals, they belongs to that mammals. I mean that they are having the external ears, which are giving the directly young ones. When coming to the animals that do not have the external ears, like fish, frog, sparrow, crow, lizard, snakes, I mean that these animals are belongs to that. One is fishes, means Pisces, frog means amphibians, sparrow and crow means birds, means aves, lizard and snake means reptiles. I mean that actually we are having the animals classification 2 types. One is vertebrates, second one is invertebrates. Coming to vertebrates, those are 5. That means Pisces means fishes, amphibians, reptiles, aves, mammals. So coming to that all 5 means fishes, amphibians like frogs. Next, reptiles means like lizards. Aves means birds. Mammals, only the mammals are having the external ears. That we have to list it out. So obviously the mammals are the organisms, the animals which gives the directly young ones. Next we try to give the answer. Think how animals could hear without external ears. Of course, without external ears, they are having the middle ear and internal ear, which is already present in the inside of the head. So with the help of these middle and inner ear, they are able to listen the sounds, and through the vibric movements of the earth also, they can feel the sensation of sounds. Next, another activity they are given to that. Here also they are given to the some of the animals list. So first we have to read that animals list of the animals: cow, rat, crow, pig, fox, hen, camel, duck, frog, elephant, buffalo, pigeon, cat, peacock, lizard. So you can also add a few more animals to list out this. So what is the information given to the tabular form? Serial number, name of animals, presence of axonal hairs and presence of epidermal hairs on the skin or feathers on the wings. So based on the list of the animals we can find out which animals are having the axonal hairs that we have to list out first. So obviously cow, pig, camel, elephant, buffalo. So these five obviously they have the axonal hairs. So when they are having the axonal hairs, obviously they are having the hair on the epidermal skin. So epidermal hairs on the skin. The rest of the animals, that means the remaining animals, they do not have the axonal hairs. Means axonal hairs are absent. Automatically those animals are having the feathers on the wings, like birds. See, for example, pigeon, peacock, next hen, duck. So these animals they do not have the axonal hairs. Obviously they do not have the epidermal hair on the skin. I mean that they are having the feathers on the wings. They do not have the axonal hairs. So based on the activity number 1 and 2, I mean that based on the activity number 1, that means table number 1 and table number 2, we can find out viviparous and oviparous animals. The animals the lay eggs do not have the epidermal hairs on the ears. So we can give the definition for this. What is meant by oviparous? What is meant by viviparous? Oviparous means the animals which lay the eggs. The animals which lay eggs are called as oviparous, while those which give birth to their offsprings are called as viviparous. So this is the information about oviparous and viviparous. See children, till now we discussed about, we are clarifying the doubts based on the page-wise questions in the textbook concern. So apart from that oviparous and viviparous, we can find out based on the axonal characters. Yes, in the nature, all the organisms do not lay the eggs. All the organisms directly give the young ones. Obviously, based on the axonal characters like the axonal hairs and epidermal hair on the skin, obviously the mammals, only the mammals gives the directly young ones. The remaining all fishes, frogs, reptiles like lizards, snakes, all these things, crocodiles, all these. Next, birds means aves. All the four are they are giving the egg laying. The only mammals which gives the directly young ones. So that we are differentiated based on the axonal characters. Next, come to the modes of reproduction. Let us come into the first one, asexual mode of reproduction. As we said, asexual mode of reproduction means absence of the sexual organs like gametes, means male and female gametes. Instead of these gametes, only simply the parent organism which can goes to the daughter ones by this simple method like budding. So let us come into that budding is the asexual mode of way in that hydra. So hydra is actually microscopic organism. Hydra is available in the pond water. If we have to collect the hydra, or we have to go for that permanent slide from the slide box, and when we can observe under the microscope. So hydra is like some tentacles. They are having the some tentacles part. So when we observe that hydra 1, 2, 3, 4 stages. So for the first one, the second one. Obviously, the second one is having a small knob-like bud. So the bud is emerges. That means they have to fully grown up, and immediately they have to divide or separate from the parent one. That means they are separated from the parent one. So this is called as a daughter bud, which can be grown up into adult one. So simply through the budding process, the parent hydra which gives to the daughter hydra by these four stages. So this is the one of the method in asexual mode of reproduction in the budding is the asexual mode of reproduction in hydra as well as yeast. So children, next we are going to answer these questions. See, based on the figure number 3, budding in hydra, they are asking the questions. Observe all the remaining slides. So what did you observe in the slide or picture 1 and 2 and 3? So 1, 2, 3, they are having only one parent hydra. When coming to the 2, what is the main difference between the slides 1 and 2 as well as 3 and 4? 1, 2, they are having a small knob. 3, 4, they are having the adult hydra which gives the daughter hydra in a separate manner. That is the difference. So what did the swelling, that means the bulge portion, develop into buds? So what did the swelling means bulge part develop into means answer is buds. So budding is the most commonest the asexual mode of method in a hydra as well as the yeast in a asexual mode of reproduction. So this is called as this type of reproduction is called as asexual mode of reproduction. So this we have to discuss about the observation of budding in hydra activity number 1. Next we go to the next amoeba. Of course amoeba also a unicellular, single cellular or unicellular freshwater free living organism. Amoeba does not have any particular shape because of they are having the pseudopodia means false foot-like structures. This is called as amoeba. So this we can explain in the next video. Thank you children. Thank you very much.